Just 15 minutes by boat from the heart of Venice, there is an island so feared that even local fishermen dare not approach it. Not out of superstition, but because those who have, say they were never the same again. Poveglia Island doesn't appear in tourist guides, or on gondolier recommended routes, not even on the most alternative excursions. To many, it simply doesn't exist. And yet, there it is, motionless, shrouded in mist and abandonment. Because Poveglia is Italy's most cursed place, a spot where pain and death piled up over centuries. So much so, that some say evil became part of the soil, the air, the water. Welcome to Sinister Maps. Today we cross the calm waters of the Venetian lagoon to discover why Italy prefers to forget Poveglia Island. Its story begins even before the city of Venice existed. Already during the Roman Empire, the island served as a refuge for peasants fleeing Germanic invasions. For centuries, it was a small agricultural settlement, modest but functional. But everything changed in 1348, when the Black Death swept across Europe. The most serene Republic of Venice, one of the continent's major commercial hubs, was devastated by the pandemic. Authorities didn't know how to stop the disease from spreading. That's when they resorted to a desperate solution: isolating the sick on islands far from the urban center. Poveglia was one of those islands. But not just any. While others were used for temporary quarantines, Poveglia became a mass grave for the living. The infected were sent there to die, without medical care, without compassion, with no way back. They were literally thrown off the boats, many still conscious. Archaeologists estimate that more than 160,000 people were cremated or buried there. Contemporary accounts speak of constant screams, of fires that never went out, of a stench so unbearable that the wind carried it all the way to St. Mark's Square. The most disturbing part is that the ground of Poveglia is partially made of human ash. Some geological studies claim that up to 50% of the current soil is the burned remains of plague victims. But the island's dark story doesn't end with the plague. In the 18th century, the Republic of Venice collapsed and the island fell into disuse. Decades passed until, in 1922, Italian authorities reactivated it as a geriatric and psychiatric hospital. That's when an even darker chapter begins. At a time when mental health was seen as a threat, the hospital filled with people who today likely wouldn't even be diagnosed. Women with anxiety, troubled orphans, traumatized war veterans. All of them locked away, voiceless, without escape. And in the middle of that context, a doctor appeared, a man whose figure fuels the island's black legend. It's said that this doctor, obsessed with finding a definitive cure for madness, performed experimental lobotomies without anesthesia, inserting spikes through eye sockets to damage specific brain areas. He allegedly also used carpentry tools, drills, saws, on restrained patients. All of this took place inside a red brick tower at the center of the facility. Over time, the doctor himself began to show signs of mental deterioration. He claimed the ghosts of his patients haunted him at night, that they spoke to him, touched him. Finally, in an act of desperation, or punishment, he fell from the tower. Some say he jumped. Others say he was pushed by invisible hands. And some claim he didn't die instantly, but remained alive for several minutes, hearing the voices he had created himself, until the mist swallowed him forever. The hospital closed permanently in 1968. Since then, Poveglia has remained in total abandonment. Or so it's believed. In recent decades, several researchers and journalists have tried to get in. Some have succeeded, recording disturbing footage: rusty beds, medicine jars on broken shelves, medical documents scattered across the floor, dusty operating tables. As if time had frozen at its darkest moment. But beyond what can be seen, the most disturbing thing is what cannot be seen. Those who have spent a night there report hearing cries, doors slamming shut on their own, and voices whispering in ancient Venetian dialect. Some illegal tourists have fled in the middle of the night, convinced they were being chased. Several investigators have documented sudden temperature drops, interference in electronic devices, and a constant feeling of being watched. There is one particularly chilling testimony, that of a Swiss medium who visited the island in 2006. According to her, she had never felt such a heavy concentration of energy. "It's like the island is alive," she said, "but it doesn't want you here. And she's not the only one." In 2014, the Italian government auctioned off Poveglia to private investors, hoping to turn it into a luxury hotel. The businessman who won the bid, Luigi Brugnaro, abandoned the project after a single visit. He never publicly explained what he saw. He only said, "It's not viable. It's not a place to build or to live." Since then, no other project has moved forward. Locals refuse to speak about the place. Boatmen won't go near it. The nearest church avoids mentioning it in sermons. Only a few old fishermen whisper stories of figures moving through the trees when the fog descends. Others claim their nets have brought up human bones near the shore. But the most terrifying part is that no one has been able to disprove the testimonies. Because no one wants to talk about Poveglia. What's really going on there? Are we simply dealing with a collection of legends, or one of the darkest and most hidden corners of the European soul? Some mystery theorists claim the island sits on a negative energy node, where suffering concentrates and time warps. Others believe the sheer number of deaths created a spiritual mass that prevents peace. There are even those who connect Poveglia to ancient, pre-Christian rituals involving human sacrifices meant to protect Venice from evil. And then there are those who believe this is simply what happens when, for centuries, a place becomes the emotional garbage dump of a civilization. The exorcism of what we don't want to face. One thing is certain: the island is still there. Floating. Silent. Waiting. Poveglia is not a set. It's not a tale. It's real. And it's possible that, one day, someone will reopen its doors. But what comes out of them might not be what we expected. If this journey through one of the world's most disturbing places has captivated you, don't forget to subscribe to Sinister Maps. Each week, I bring you the best-kept secrets on Earth, forbidden places, cursed, forgotten, but very real. See you in the next video. And remember, some islands aren't uninhabited. They're just waiting for someone to make the mistake of coming back.